Do you feel a little confused and overwhelmed when you're looking at food labels? Don't worry, you're not alone. Stick around and watch this video to see the 2 things that I think are important when you're looking at food labels. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ashley here. A lot of my patients struggle with understanding what is real food and what is processed food, especially in our society today. That line has gotten very blurred and confusing to know which side you're on. In general, when you are shopping, I recommend sticking to foods that don't need a label. These are going to be things like whole fruits and vegetables, whole cuts of meat, and dairy, eggs, things like that. So things that are usually found around the perimeter of the market or grocery store, wherever you're shopping, and have one ingredient in them, just whatever they are. However, there will be times when you need to venture into those middle aisles, you need a specific ingredient, or you're looking for something, a specific snack, something like that, that you do find in a package form. So if you pick up something at the grocery store and you turn it around and you immediately get overwhelmed by the numbers and the symbols and the marketing that says it's low fat or full of antioxidants or full of your daily fiber, and just looking at the box is overwhelming, stick around because I'm going to show you the 2 things that you need to know to quickly decide if this product serves you or not. So today I'm going to break down those 2 things that make it very quick and easy for you to understand if you are getting a quality product that will be healthy for you or something that you should put down and avoid. When you are looking at a food label, the first section that you want to check out is going to be the ingredient list. This list can usually tell you almost immediately if this is a good product or something full of a bunch of chemicals. In general, the longer that ingredient list is, the more likely there will be added chemicals to it. If I pick something up and that list is a mile long and I get tired of reading after the 4th or 5th ingredient, I usually just put it down. It's probably not that healthy and it's not worth my time to go through the rest of this step. So if you have your product and you're deciding, oh, it's not that long of a list, so now let's look at the individual ingredients and see if they're healthy for me. Can you recognize and name every single one of the ingredients on there? If you can see what that ingredient is and likely go out into the store, find it, and then recreate this product on your own, it's probably okay. Not as good as if you were to get a whole piece of food, such as fruit or vegetables, but if you recognize every ingredient on that list, that's a good start. There will be times that you see ingredients on that list that you have no idea what they are. I call these ingredients food-like chemicals. They're not actual food. They were concocted in a lab for various purposes. So let me show you a list of what I could find as the most common food additives or food-like chemicals. So you see there's so many preservatives that are put into foods to keep them shelf stable. There are lots of colors and dyes that make food more appealing to our eyes, and especially to children's eyes. Certain food colors have been associated with worse neurological symptoms in children. ADHD and autism are 2 examples of this. We want to eat food that has its natural color. Food comes in all sorts of colors. We don't need to be adding to it. There are things that are flavor enhancers. A big one is MSG that is found commonly in lots of food. Those not only can cause symptoms for you, they're going to be vague symptoms throughout your body, not just in your GI tract. So headaches is a huge one. Joint pains, stiffness, fatigue, things like that. They're also designed to be very addictive. They're keeping you coming back to eat more and more of that food. Next, we have emulsifiers. So those are things that are going to help mix food in a way that's consistent. So think keeping oil and water together. These are chemicals that are added so that those things don't separate. So think of nut butters. The oil will usually separate from the nut butter, but a lot of times emulsifiers are added. The same with ice cream. To keep the ice cream fats from separating with the non-fat liquids in ice cream, emulsifiers are added. I'm reading a great book called Supergut. And in it, the author explains how that actually, these emulsifying chemicals can actually disrupt your mucus lining on the inside of your stomach, allowing the bacteria that are good in our stomach and help with food digestion and lots of other processes, but gain access to your intestinal wall and cause so much inflammation and so many issues. Next, we have thickeners and anti-cakers. So thickening agents, obviously, make something a little bit more dense. They can make it more gum-like, change the texture of our food, and anti-cakers prevent clumping of foods. Again, more added chemicals that is not necessarily good for our body. And then we have pH regulators, so also helping in the preservation of food. Fortifying agents, so naturally we have stripped all of our food of the good benefits, so we just keep adding them back in via fortifying agents. And then finally, sweeteners. So let me show you the list of all of the different names of sugar. And this is not including the artificial sugars that we have created, the artificial sweeteners. These are just pure forms of sugar in different ways that the food companies have started to name it. Look at your food labels and check out and see if you see any of these chemicals. My recommendation is if you see more than one, put that food down. If you see one, then weigh the risks and benefits in your own health. So after I've looked at the number and the quality of ingredients, my next step is to look at the order of ingredients listed. Because these ingredients are listed in order from highest to lowest amounts. So the first ingredient you see will be the most abundant thing in that food, followed by the second ingredient. If you look at a lot of labels, what you'll notice is there is one ingredient and then the second ingredient is usually sugar of some form, of one of those names that I just showed you. That tells you that even if something is listed as having a lot of natural products or natural fibers or natural fruit, if some sort of sugar is listed, sugar is present in this item in a higher amount than anything else listed after it. Okay, so after you've looked at the ingredient list and you decided that overall you like the ingredients, maybe there is some added sugar, but it was pretty far down on the ingredient list, and you're thinking about continuing purchasing this item, the next thing that you need to do is look at the nutrition label for the total amount of added sugars. It does not matter to me what the total amount of sugar is. What matters is how much sugar was added in addition to the natural foods found in there. For me personally, I really don't love things that are above 2 grams of sugar, which is pretty darn low of added sugar. The total amounts of sugar can of course be higher, but usually I don't love to go above 2 grams, and especially I don't love to go above 4. Start reading food labels just when the next time that you're at the grocery store to see how much added sugar is added into these things. It's absurd. So that's it. Those are my 2 steps. I just wanted to go through a couple of examples for you so that you can see kind of this process in action and how I go about it. All right, so here is a list of ingredients for several common processed packaged foods that I frequently see patients eating and on the shelf, and these are also heavily marketed towards children. So if we start with the top left one over here, you can see that corn flour is the first one, vegetable oil, seasoning, then you get into sugar, so it's still pretty high on the list, MSG, hydrolyzed soy protein. We know what onion powder and yeast extract are, but then there's a bunch of colorings. It says natural and artificial flavors. We don't know what those artificial flavors are. Soybean oil, disodium inosonate, disodium guanylate, and TBHQ, which is just a preservative. So I don't know what half of those things are. I can't go find those in nature. Probably not a great product. So then let's go to the one to the right of it. So there's oat blend. It has rolled oats, oat flour, oat fiber. Not the worst. If it was just rolled oats, I would have loved it a lot better because oat flour and oat fiber are just getting more and more processed. Tapioca syrup. So this is the second ingredient. Sugar is the second ingredient in this one. Then there's also fig paste, which is more sugar. Then there's some oil. Then there's cane sugar, which is more sugar. Cane syrup, which is more sugar. And then a couple of other things. Oh, and then right at the end, they added in some antioxidants as well. And then let's go down to the blue one below that. So granola, whole grain oats, brown sugar, brown rice crisps, so sugar is still very high up there. More sugar with the whole grain brown rice flour, whole grain wheat, soybean oil, whole wheat flour, baking soda, non-fat dairy milk, corn syrup, more sugar, semi-sweet chocolate chips, which still are their primary ingredient is sugar, brown rice crisps, more sugar, graham cookie pieces, sugar, and then honey. They had to add honey, dehydrated marshmallow bits, which is more sugar. So there is a ton of sugar in this one. And then finally, the last one in the lower left. So water, first ingredient, cool. Strawberries, sorbitol, which is an artificial sweetener, maltodextrin, we're getting into more sugar, white grape juice from concentrate, glycerin, polydextrose, just guar gum, so a thickener, sucralose, sugar, strawberry juice, sugar, white grape juice, sugar, and then you just keep going and the ingredients just keep adding on. And I'm bored after reading the first line. So as you can see, this is an example of just a ton of either added things, a ton of sugar, or just too many ingredients. So let me show you what these products actually are. So we have Takis, Z-bars, which are advertised as nutritionally healthy for children. Chewy bars, also considered by some to be a healthy snack for children. And then Outshine, no sugar added popsicles. Now let's look at some what I consider healthier alternatives compared to more traditional alternatives based on their food labels. So this first food item we have right here, the ingredients are dried cranberries. So the cranberries weren't sweet enough. Sugar was added. And then dried mango, again, not sweet enough on its own, sugar was added. And then we have citric acid as a preservative in there. And then we've got roasted almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds. So those aren't that bad, but the dried cranberries were with their sugar and the dried mango with their sugar was found in the highest amount. So when you go over, like we said, after looking at the ingredients, now we know that there's sugar in this. Let's go see how much added sugar. And you can see that there's 4 grams of added sugar. Not the worst by any means, but it's still a decent amount of added sugars. So that is actually this Power Up Premium Trail Mix that you can find at Target. Compared to what I would consider as an alternative to that, if you look at this item, the ingredients are cashews, almonds, pecans, pistachios, Brazil nuts, peanut oil, sea salt. And then if you look at the nutrition label, there is no added sugars in it. So that's a really great option, and that's just the deluxe mixed nut. All right, let's do another one. So for this one, there's roasted peanuts, sugar, vegetable oil, and salt. And then if you look at next to the nutrition label, there is 3 grams of total added sugars. And that is your Skippy Creamy Peanut Butter versus this option of peanut butter. And you can see that the ingredients are dry roasted organic peanuts and sea salt with no added sugar. There are 0 added sugars. There's just 1 naturally found in the peanuts. And that's going to be your Kirkland's brand peanut butter. So as I said, the best option for your health is going to be eating whole foods that don't need a package. Not always possible, just depending on the season, what you have available in your store, and specifically what you're cooking. But I hope this was helpful for you to understand all of the food-like chemicals that get added to our food supply and all of the crazy amount of sugar that is added to these processed foods that are just not good for our bodies. I hope you can use this guide while you're out there shopping to start choosing products that are better for you and your health and your body. Make sure to sign up for my email list to get downloadable versions of those lists of alternate names for sugar and food-like chemicals that you can print out and keep with you while you are shopping. If you want a little bit more one-on-one help with me, head on over to integrativemedicinepueblo.com and schedule an appointment. I will see you next time. If you wanted a list of all of those alternate name for sugars and all of those added food-like chemicals, head on over to my website at selfhealingdrashley.com to get those downloaded now. Until then, I'll see you next time.